I'm sitting here with Jason Zachary Pott.
Yes.
All right. And we are going to talk about Dead Babies with Chainsaws and Deacon Jaxx. And I haven't read Deacon Jaxx yet, but I have read Dead Babies with Chainsaws. And
you like it? Good.
Yeah, I really did. It's very different. Really, the first question is, where did this...
Well, I worked when I created my neo-trash universe. I wanted to populate it with really wild characters, and when I was coming up with characters, I'm kind of like, okay, that's cool, but would I center a whole comic around? No, I wanted to be part of the scenery and part of the whole thing. But I was inspired by when I worked in a videotape store back before there was Blockbuster videos and all that. It was like 1983. I'm in this mom-pop video store. Remember Empire Pictures? Which Charles Band and all them put together and got Reanimator? Well, they started putting out movie posters, but they didn't have them greenlit. They didn't have them a script for them or anything like that, but it was just these ideas they had to make posters. And one that we got was Decapitron, which was about just from looking at the images on the poster, you wanted to see this movie because an android that can remove its heads for various types of, like, almost like a transformer-like thing, like one head is all saw blades and another head's all guns and all that. And I went, okay, I want to see this. No movie came out, no nothing. And when I looked it up later on, it turned out that it was just a promo poster. They made all these promo posters, but no movies. So I had all these posters, and you'd see Decapitron, Blood from the Moon, you know, and all this kind of, and you're like going, okay, I want to see these. So I went, okay, I'll make posters of covers to comic books that don't exist.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I'll put them on the table, and I'll have them for free, because I found this guy who could do it for like nothing. I mean, if I sold for 25 cents a piece, if I sold 10 of 100, I probably would have made my cost back. So I just was like, just give them away. So I put them on the table, and we just watched what stack went down. So I had Pistol Packin' Preacher Pimps, Dead Babies with Chainsaws, and Dinosaurs with Guns. And the Dead Babies just flew off the table, and I went, oh, well, there it is. And that's the one. And I said, okay, now I got to do it. So here we are, and that's how I got it done. And people were like, yeah, I got the poster, man. I've been waiting for it. And they make it up.
So basically you made your own lotto just to see who
right.
gave up the most interest.
Right, and it was a way to introduce characters and then throw them into my universe with a one-shot because people like the poster. So it's like, okay, now I've got a justification for a one-shot comic. And I did it, and it flew off the table. I mean, when I walk by something and it's like, weird titles like, people say always go back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, yeah, that's an example. But my point is, if you come up with a title that ropes them in, I mean, Harlan Ellison, the sci-fi writer, writing titles like The Beast That Shouted Love at the Heart of the Universe. Who does not want to read that story?
The title gives you just so much that just wants to grab you right there.
So I figured Dead Babies with Chainsaws. Well, there it is. It sums it up. That's what it is. And plus, who doesn't want to see Dead Babies with Chainsaws? So that's what I did. And it's gory, but it has a very tongue-in-cheek approach, as you know, and has a sense of humor to it. You got to have it. I mean, I figured I'll have them try to take over a town. The youth don't know what to do, but what can I do with it? I'll have the elderly fight back, and so we had this kind of generational war going on in the middle of it. And the way I tied it into the universe is very subtle, because if you read all the other titles, you'll suddenly understand, oh, who are these guys in these robes? Oh, they're the Chaos Agents work for the Chaos Weavers, because I read it in this book. But it's a standalone, because all you're seeing is like a demonic creature herding dead babies with chainsaws, and it stays within itself like that, too. So you got a bonus.
And so, when are we going to see number 2?
It's coming out in the spring 2015. It's going to be, we decided to kind of mock the big event comics of like DC and Marvel. I mean, with all the crap like Civil War and New 52 and all that. So we're doing Dead Babies with Chainsaws 2, and it's called Curse of the Drunk Cyber Monkeys with Uzis. And it's going to be this big mashup, but what happens is every character within the Neo-Trash universe, from Deacon Jaxx, Homeless Necromancer, to Johnny Morbid, to Everyman Jones, to Black Amanda, to Dr. Plutari, everybody's going to be in it.
And so Deacon Jaxx and dead babies are in the same.
Yeah. I even got dead babies in Deacon Jaxx too.
Okay.
They're part of the problem in this one. And I introduced the Pistol Pack and Preacher Pimps. That poster went too. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to do a one shot, so I'll just put them in the stuff now. And I put them in Deacon Jaxx. And everybody just saw the Pistol Pack and Preacher Pimps and went, oh, awesome, they're in. You know, and I'm like, yeah, they're now a staple and all that because the poster, that one flew too. Nice. So yeah, I was surprised. Okay. So yeah, so they're all going to be in this big event comic where there's going to be a massive invasion of Cleveland by the Chaos Weavers from the Cosmos. Well, then there's this other group that wants, you see, what the Chaos Weavers do is they collect spinal fluid from us and use it to power their death machines. And they have this doomsday device called, or they are going in and getting all the spinal fluid. Well, there's this opposing cosmic group called the Necro Judges, who feels that everything across the universe should be dead. You know, they judge things if they should be willing to live or not. So most of the time it's death. So they create a doomsday, cosmic doomsday device, and they plant it in the center of Cleveland. And as the Chaos Weavers are invading Cleveland to get spinal fluid, they take over Dr. Plusarius's drunk cyber monkeys and use them to get the spinal fluid to power their doomsday device. So it's this big kind of event thing.
It's intricate. That's right. That's really smart. I like it.
But it's straightforward to where it's not complicated. You could dive right in. You don't have to read anything beforehand. I write it to where you can jump right in. It's kind of, I always liked how if you got a heavy metal magazine, and then you always had those ones where it's part 3 that you're reading. There might be one that starts and that's one you read, but then you come to another one and it's part 3, but you still can get into it and still know what's going on. That's the approach I try to take with my comics. I fucking hate origin stories. I do.
We get them over and over and everything.
Oh, we're going to reboot Spider-Man. Great, another fucking origin story.
And then they went and did it at DC and they did all their everything.
Yeah, it's like what is it with us Americans and origin stories? I think it's because the way this country's young and all that and how we came up and all that kind of stuff. It was like, we like a good success story where someone pulls himself up by their bootstraps. Let's find out about their history. Maybe we'll learn something from it. Yeah, that's all cool and stuff like that, but I like to learn about people through their actions. So you can do that without having to go, well, he started out as a young child and did this and was abused and blah, 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 and got mad, but then he found this talisman in the basement and, oh, he became this guy and decided, no, hate that shit.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, Marvel does it all the time. It's like, we know, they're mutants. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, we know Captain America was a super soldier.
Walk up to a 3-year-old.
Batman's parents
Walk up to a 3-year-old. Who's Spider-Man? Peter Parker. So they know the origin. Why do we have to go on?
Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Same with Wonder Woman. Where's Paradise Island? Okay, we know that. You know, and all that. You can do that with the common guy on the street because if they're iconic, that means everybody already knows about them because that's what they are. Then they're iconic. Okay, so if we all know, and it's all in the vernacular of the name and also in the knowledge of it. Why show it again? Okay, here. Well, yeah, we know that. So let's move on.
That was one of the great things. That was like the Dread movie.
Yeah.
Nothing. No history, anything.
Prime
just
example.
A full story that was completely immersive, and you just felt it.
Right. I mean, those comics are what influenced me, was the European style comics. I mean, neo-trash comics, the reason why it's called that is because I was raised on European comics, which are the heavy metal stuff and all that. My first comics were Robert Crumb comics, like underground stuff. I stole them on my dad's roll-top desk. And he caught me at 6 years old reading Robert Crumb. And at first, you know, being the old ex-hippie that he was, at first he grabbed it like a father reaction, but all of a sudden he was like, how many times have you read it? And I'm like, about 6 or 7. All right. He's like, come with me. And I'm thinking I'm getting in trouble. Well, he sits me down and he opens up his desk and he pulls out these comics and he goes, okay, you can read these, but these you can't. And he goes, and you can have these. And this isn't Spider-Man and stuff. This is all like, oh, wow, Slow Death. Oh, Skull Comics. Oh, Anarchy Comics. Oh, you know, Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. Yeah, what's this? And he says, but whatever you do, don't tell Mom. So it's like, okay. And from then on, Spider-Man came later. All that stuff came. Loved it, but that's where my mind was. So with these European comics, I want to create the new European style, Euro trash comics. Oh, I love Akira, Neo Tokyo. Neo trash comics, but let's put an umlaut over the O for a little more European effect. And that's what I do. And I'm making the new Euro trash comics here in America to say, hey Americans, the Europeans are willing to invest time and patience into a story that isn't a fucking origin story and all that, and they jump right in and say, hey, the water's fine. Let's see if you'll do it too. And I'll throw those out there for them. I write the comics I want to read. You know, if everybody else wants to come along, it's fine. Our catchphrase is, if you like us, tell a friend. If not, tell an enemy. We're still going to be here. You know?
Right.
Why not?
As long as you're doing what you love. That's all that really
Exactly.
matters. So, I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
No, that's
Got
fine.
things to do.
I talk comics all the time. Drives my wife crazy.
All right, let's. I just want to talk a little bit about Deacon Jaxx, Homeless Necromancer. This one looks good. I had to pick this.
That is one of my favorite comics right now. I'm having so much fun with this ornery old wizard who lives in an alleyway. And what I did was I was like, okay, he's going to live in a box. And whenever he wakes up, he's in a different alleyway in either a different world, dimension, whatever. And whenever he gets out of that box, that's when the adventure starts. So I have him the first one, you know, it wakes up in a normal alleyway. But in the second one, it could be an alien world and he wakes up in their alleyway, in their city, you know, kind of thing. With this story, Paul Johnson, who is in England, he draws for some friends of mine at Dark Slinger and all that. And he wasn't working with him anymore. And I was like, I lost this guy. I'm looking for somebody to do Dead Babies with chainsaws, but I want it to be kind of tongue-in-cheek. And my friend Adam said, you need to get a hold of Paul. He's fast and he'll do it all. So I contacted him and said, hey, I got this script called Dead Babies with Chainsaws. I get this email immediately back. You had me at Dead Babies. So he draws it and we had this thing going on. And I mentioned, I came up with this character, Deacon Jaxx, Homeless Necromancer. He immediately starts putting online, hey, I'm going to be doing this comic, Deacon Jaxx, Homeless Necromancer. And I was like, okay. You know, sure, I was going to ask him anyway. All right, so he's on board. And when he got the script and started reading it, he was like going, this is really wild, and this is really interesting. I did the Dead Babies thing, I kind of got your universe, but there's so much more to this. I'm like, yeah. And so he really was having fun, and when we threw in the Dead Babies again and all that, we decided, okay, we got to have a villain, so we used the character from the crossover comic, Dr. Plutarius, who wants this clockwork demon made by the Order, or that was stolen from the Chaos Weavers by the Order of the Melting Fist.
And you've come up with some really great names.
Well, the Order of the Melting Fist has this thing, and Dr. Plutarius sends out 2 clones, and they steal it. They become monks of the Order, and they steal it. Well, they're in trouble, so they go to Deacon, and Deacon sees this thing, and he knows what it is, and it's a horrible weapon of mass destruction. And he's like, you know what, you gave it to... I'm going to keep it because nobody needs to have this. And they're all going, no, we need to give it back to our father and all this. And he's like, okay, let's go talk to the guy. And so he takes it over there and he kind of ends up using the thing against the people who want it.
Okay.
So it's sort of like, oh, you want to play with fire? See what it's like. And that's what he does. So that's basically the plot.
All right, I believe I'm probably going to be reading this tonight.
Well, the sequel to that one is going to be called The Necromantic Waltz. And it's going to be where I decided to do a play on the Necronomicon, how everybody's like, oh, it's real, oh, it's this, and oh, it's that. And we all know it's fake. But what he's going to do is that he feels that all these evil grimoires exist in all these worlds and galaxies and dimensions should be in one place and kept locked up. And so he creates this massive library and he's going around stealing them all. And all these people are like going, no, you can't take these away from us. So they hire his ex-wife, Cookie Schlabotnik Jaxx, who's a pissed off sorceress and mad at him all the time, because she's the only one who understands him, to go after him and get all these books.
Okay.
So he's going to be taking on his ex-wife.
It's a love story.
It is. It's passionate.
And that one's called
The Necromantic Waltz.
And when should we expect that?
That one will be coming after Dead Babies 2. So
Okay.
probably in the fall of 2015.
Okay. So where are you going to be at next? What cons?
We're going to be at Rose City Comic Con in the fall. We're taking a break. I'm going to try to, people are going to be saying, hey, can I buy your comics online? I've been spending all my money on getting product together. Now I'm looking at, let's get this online and start to sell it to people online. So keep going to neotrashcomics.com. Look for it. It'll come up. You can start buying online in the near future.
Like the one said, neotrashcomics.com. And once they're there, make sure you pick these up. This one, I guarantee it's
and the sequel's going to be better, trust me.
Awesome. Okay, well, we appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoyed talking.